Hey, Camp Girl Boss, it's Emily Breedlove, and we are back today with a live stream interview with a dear friend of mine. Her name is Emma Churchman, and she is an expert on a concept called money mindset, which is really, really important when you're building your empire, and we're going to be pulling it apart today. So first of all, thanks, Emma, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so Emma, in Camp Girl Boss, we talk a lot about money, right? Because you can't build an empire, you can't run a business without looking at money. It's a big, big thing. In camp, we look at your money story. We also look at how to price and manage your money in your business. But what you look at is kind of different. It touches on a lot of those things, but it's called money mindset. And for a lot of our campers, that may be a totally new concept. So can you talk to us a little bit about what it means to you and how it's tied to your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So, y'all, what I do is I work with entrepreneurs and I help them figure out how to grow, how to scale their businesses. So, sometimes that's the logistics of how to do business, but often it's how you're thinking about the growth of your business. And that includes your relationship with money, which I know you all talk about in Camp Girl Boss. So, the first thing that I want to say is, I don't mean to brag or anything, but I have failed in every possible way in business. Like, no joke, been
Yes,
there,
me
done
too.
that, got the t-shirt. Right. Okay. So I know how to not make money
Yeah,
really, really well. Right. And
absolutely.
then something happened about 5 years ago where I went from making an average of about $500 a month to an average of $20,000 a month. And I made that leap in 30 days. And then that same year, I grew my business to about 200,000 in sales. And it's been growing since then. So I've generated well over $1 million.
That's awesome.
Really working my own money mindset. Yeah, thank you. So that's why I really believe in having a relationship with money that works for you.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
that's what's crazy is, and because this is one thing that I want to really emphasize to you campers, is that just because you're good at your business, just because you love what you do and you're good at it, doesn't mean you're going to make a lot of money. And oftentimes, and we see this a lot with women, that we stop it. That the relationship that we have with money, we actually stop ourselves from making good money. We stop our business from being successful. And that relationship is so, so important. And so, okay, so we've got some questions for you. Ready to answer them?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all, you've defined a little bit about money mindset. Can you talk about why it's so important when building your empire to understand it for yourself?
Okay. So let's use this analogy. So think about your relationship kind of like if you were dating. Like, I don't know if some of you are dating or not, but when you're interested in a person, think about what happens in one of two scenarios. So, scenario number one is you pay attention to that person. You acknowledge them for how awesome they are, right? You compliment them. You want to spend time with them. You get to know them and their interests. They get to know you. It becomes a really fun experience for both of you. And the result is they want to spend more time with you. Or scenario number two, you play it all cool, totally ignore them, don't respond to anything they're doing, and then you're so surprised that they're not interested in spending time with you,
Yep.
right? And it's the same thing with money. Money wants to spend time with you. Money wants to get to know you. Money wants to know that you're paying attention. And if you're just like, hey, let me ignore money and maybe I'll still make money, it's not going to happen,
Mhm.
right? There's a disconnect there. You've got to figure out how to create a really fun, joyful, curious, life-giving relationship with this thing that you want to be spending a lot of time with.
Yeah. Well, and it is like that positive friendship, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
you need to be able to celebrate and welcome the money coming into your business, because if you're not comfortable with sales or with pricing or with even just getting paid, it's amazing how you will then stop it, that you'll stop the money from coming in. And, like we said, if your business isn't making money, it's not going to be around for very long. Okay.
Right.
So the next question, in camp, we talk about the money story and how the relationship that we have often starts at home with your parents. Can you talk about how the money mindset could be connected to your money story?
Yeah, absolutely. So whether or not we like it, as we're growing up, we are like sponges for everything happening around us. And we pick up on these beliefs or these ideas or these stories of what's possible. And sometimes we pick up on stories from our parents or from our neighbors, our community, our church members that say it's not okay to have money, or it's wrong or bad if you make more money than the people around you. You know, they're going to disown you. They're going to hate you. They're not going to want to spend time with you. Or another one is, if you make more money than one of your parents, then you're just, don't you think you're so special? Like, who are you to think that you're better than your parents?
Yeah.
Or if you make more money than your friends and you can afford to do more things than they are, maybe they're not going to want to hang out with you anymore, right? Because they don't have the same kind of money to play with. So there are lots of ways that we can stop ourselves from making more money, not even realizing the thoughts that are going through our own minds.
Yeah. Well, and so that's, there in camp, we talk about the myths, right? The money myths. And depending upon what you're exposed to, there are so many myths around money, that money is bad. And when you have more money, you become a bad person. And that, for me, I grew up in the early part of my childhood. My parents didn't have a lot of money. And then later on, my father got much more successful and he started making a lot of money. And then my parents got a divorce. And so you start really thinking about, well, was it the money that created the problems? And so you start making assumptions and ideas that you really have to build that friendship up again so that you welcome and celebrate being successful and having that financial independence. So I love that you're looking at that. Okay, so the next question, when it comes to working with other girl bosses, because I know you work with other women entrepreneurs, what kind of mindset have you seen is best for being successful in business? What have you seen in other women?
Yeah, it's interesting because women and girls are inherently really emotional, right? We're really in touch with our feelings. The first reaction we have to any situation is to feel something. And that's great.
Yeah.
Like, it's so helpful for us to be able to do that. And sometimes doing that can kind of trip us up, right? So we decide, I'm going to make $100 this week. And then we start, like, we've made that powerful decision. We have the game plan. We know what we're selling. We know what our price points are. We know what our profit margin is. We know how we could take home $100. We know who we're selling to.
Yes.
And then we go into all the emotions. Well, I can't really do that. That's going to be too hard. It's going to take too much work. I'm not going to be able to spend time doing other things I really want to be doing. Like, it's called emotional voting. We emotionally vote on the decision that we've already made. And that actually can really trip us up for women specifically.
Yeah, it is. It's so one of the things in camp that we look at is what we call our creative magic. And I know this is something that you and I have talked about, is it's kind of like that purpose or passion, the spark that we have. And it's really rooted in your heart, right? Like it starts first with what you feel called to do, what you feel excited to do, and that emotional pull. And that's one of the reasons why women are so good at business, is because we really lean into what we love, but it also can be one of the biggest challenges, especially when it comes to if we have challenges with money, of how we work around that. So what advice would you give to girls that they start recognizing that they may have some blocks or some places with their relationship that isn't exactly right or doesn't feel good around money? What advice would you give them in addressing those?
Absolutely. So if you've already decided on what your purpose and your impact is, right? You've already made that powerful decision of, here's what I want to be doing in the world. And here's the business that's going to support me in having that impact. If you make that powerful decision, you can feel the emotion behind it. You're really excited about it. And then immediately you say to yourself, yeah, but So the sentence begins, yeah, but I could never make that much money. Yeah, but I can't really have that kind of impact. Yeah, but it's going to be too hard. Yeah, but no one else around me is doing that. Anytime we yeah, but ourselves, we have a money mindset block.
Yes. So when they start seeing that, what can girls do? So part of the camp too in the very beginning is they build their own vision board. So they're starting to really visualize the life that they want to create for themselves. And they sit in that emotional space of what does it feel like, smell like, sound like being in that space. And so when they are imagining that, okay, and they catch themselves in the yeah buts, what should they do then to help work around it?
Okay. So immediately stop and like write down what that yeah, but sentence is. Yeah, but I don't know how to do that. Right? So that's the sentence. That's the money mindset block. And then you want to say to yourself, okay, so let me go back to my vision board. What would I rather be saying to myself? So maybe you would rather be saying to myself, I always know the answer to the next step that I need to take.
Yes.
Because what happens when you say that kind of thing, you know, if you're telling your brain, I already know the answer, then your brain's like, oh, we already know the answer. Let's go find the answer, right?
Yes.
It puts your brain on going in a different direction that can actually help you move forward.
Well, and even if, when you are looking at that and you say, yeah, but I don't know how to do that, even just turning that on into, I'm willing to find out what it takes to get there. I am going to be curious, right? So that's one thing that we look at is passionate curiosity, and how staying in that place of, you may not know now how to get there, but if you stay curious, you can find it. You can figure out that way. Right. And it's just opening yourself up to it, right?
Nice. Yes.
Cool. Well, so do you have any other advice to girls as they're going through the process of really exploring their money mindset and building this healthier relationship with money in their empire?
Yeah, absolutely. As you're noticing where you're stuck, you're feeling stuck, you get overwhelmed, you start saying all the things to yourself about how you're bad or you're wrong or you can't make it work. Go back to that first decision that you made about the purpose and the impact that you want to have in the world. Remember that decision. Feel that decision. And then start again.
So get back into the heart space. Remember why you felt called. That's awesome.
Totally.
Well, so Emma, for those who want to learn a little bit more about what it is that you do, where can they go to find out that information?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to emmachurchman.com, or you can also find me on Facebook at Coaching Entrepreneurs.
Awesome. So girls, if you have any other questions that you want to ask Emma, be sure to post them in the forum and I will send them over to her and share them with you there. Otherwise, Emma, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your wisdom with everybody about money mindset.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, ladies, we will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.